Good afternoon. Welcome to Point Perspective. I'm your host, Dunkin Dad. Yes, starting off with John Parr, St. Elmo's Fire. Song 1984, movie 1985. The title Man in Motion. People call it St. Elmo's Fire, but it's Man in Motion. Um, yeah, the cast in St. Elmo's Fire, just the total collection of all of the really A-list guys and girls from the 80s. I guess that real Brat Pack, I guess they called them. Emilio Estevez, Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, Ali Sheedy, uh, Andrew McCarthy was in there. Judd Nelson was in there. There was so many good actors and actresses that were in that film. Just a true testament to how really cool the 80s was. It really was. You had people getting together, making these films. I believe St. Elmo's Fire was a Joel Schumacher film. Of course, the other big director 80s, we had John Hughes. There was Jerry Bruckheimer, did a lot of movies. I'm going to geek out on movies today, but just a wonderful, wonderful movie, a coming of age story in the truest sense. We went through The Breakfast Club, we went through Pretty in Pink, we went through 16 Candles, we did Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Um, but St. Elmo's Fire was really the, and I know some movies came after, but St. Elmo's Fire was really like the culmination of you've grown up, you're forging ahead in life, and it kind of gave us this microcosm of individuals and how they were pursuing their dreams, how they were pursuing their goals, some of the internal conflict that they were still dealing with on an individual basis, thrown up against the canvas in the backdrop of the way society was playing out at that time, where they wanted to go with their life, who they wanted to be with. Should you sleep with that guy? Shouldn't you sleep with that guy? Is the desire and the dream really going to be fulfilled if you do this? Is it really going to tick that box? Are you going to be able to exist in this kind of relationship where there's a whole new dynamic that your spouse is way more conservative and you're thinking a little more liberal thinking? Um, Dreams of chasing music, Billy, the saxophone player, um, you know, battling alcoholism, battling the financial burdens of making ends meet in order to pay your bills and keep the roof over your head. The reason why I started out with Man Emotion today and St. Elmo's Fire is because today is the start of the Lenten season. If you're a Christian, it's Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday sort of is a moment to recenter yourself. One in the Christian calendar, prepare yourself for Easter. People fast. People give up things. People try to commit to certain groups, certain functions, certain disciplines. I'm going to be better. I'm not going to eat like this. I'm going to make sure I go to the gym every day. People are like, oh, give up coffee, give up ketchup, give up something that is, really meaningful in your life that when you remove it, you really become challenged. Like you actually feel that tangible loss. Not going on the religious avenue today because it's just, it's interpretive to every individual who's practicing. I was having a conversation the other day and we were discussing how you can line up 10 Baptists, 10 Catholics, 10 agnostics, 10 pick a discipline, right? As much as you try to affirm yourself to the practice at its core value, everyone as an individual interprets it in their own way, processes that for themselves, and then actively practices to the best of their ability within the constructs of their environment, their resources, their time and availability. And the biggest thing is staying committed to something and or someone or some entity or a goal or a project. What I am really hammering on today and why I showed a cornucopia of different and varying backgrounds and dreams and people and personal problems, I want to talk about availability. We've talked about this briefly in the past, and I said we'd circle back to it at some point. Shout out Jen Psaki, wherever you're doing. Um, they always ask Coach Homer Edwards, right? Herm's always like, the best ability is availability, baby. You got to be there. You got to show up. Got to be available. At that point, then I can teach you, mold you, shape you, grow you, etc. Uh, we need availability to ourselves. I know a lot of times, and this is where it gets introspective today, and it becomes focused on availability in the truest sense of the word, specifically related to you and to me, and then how that blossoms out and projects out, right? So we're always, I'd say for the majority of individuals here within the parameters of what they need to do in their day, I'd like to think that a lot of individuals are available. Call me, man. Let's go hang out. Hey, call me when you have a problem. Yeah, shoot me a text. Oh yeah, I'd love to do that. Let's go. Let's go. That's a certain level of availability. Hey, kids are sick. Somebody needs to be picked up. Somebody's got to be dropped off the airport. Somebody needs to be picked up from the airport. You're in the area. Swing by. Can you get that for me? Yeah, yeah. We a lot of times fill this theory of availability through actions directed towards other people, which is great. It's very noble. It's everybody stop a second, pat yourself on the back. Fantastic. You're doing a great job. You're being that 2-3% of people that still give a shit about what happens. Many times, though, and where we have our struggles, is that availability to ourselves, right? And it's burdensome at times because a lot of us find value in our outward relationships. And I'm not putting down the outward relationships. And I'm not saying that you should blow all these relationships up or you should pull back on them. Right? That's the paradox that is life. It's establishing that balance, how far the pendulum goes here, how much energy I want to expend, how much time I want to give. Available energy to yourself, available time to yourself, available moments to recharge. Oh, and I agree, and that's where I'm going with it, JD. JD, it's uh, you should have this meter in your head, right? The full empty meter, what you're giving out, what's coming back, what's resonating, what's recharging, to where if you're not available to yourself, if you're not reflecting and meditating on the things that are good for you and what you need and how you need to work on yourself to be more well balanced, to be a better contributor in your own life and in the things that sustain you, you fall into this trap of making up for it, covering these deficiencies by, yeah, being available, being available, being available, being available. And JD's making a great point. Tired of these false relationships. There's plenty of times where we have people that'll say, "Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there. Oh, yeah, it's amazing. Oh, it's great." And you find that many times it's a one-sided relationship. Depending upon what side of the spectrum you fall on, you're the one that's always available. You're the one that's always carving out time. You're the one that's taking the extra hour out of your day to be present in whatever need necessary, that the other person is looking for. Um, there is a certain amount of reward that comes to being the go-to person. However, like any venture in life, if it is completely one-sided, again, if it's completely one-sided and you're the one who is doing all of the work, there is a lot of residual feelings and emotions that come out of that. People get resentful, people get angry, people get completely depleted, people get frustrated, people blow up good relationships because they're afraid to venture down roads and have certain conversations. You don't have to agree with everything. I don't have to understand everything. All right, JD. See you later, buddy. Thanks for jumping on. You give out and give off this energy. You want it to come back to you. You want to be the person who's there for other people. But are you really being there for yourself first? And it's difficult sometimes in our relationships, especially as we have gotten older, to speak up and say, I kind of need a 30-second timeout for myself. And I'm not being selfish, and I'm not being dismissive or disassociative or angry or frustrated with you. It's just that right now I know I need to take care of a certain couple things for myself in order to maintain this level of, performance, involvement, emotion, physicality, intimacy that is existing. And it's like, again, one of my favorite words, it's unilateral, man. It's in your job, it's your career, it's your personal relationships, it's your intimate relationships, it's your social relationships. Um, we do a great job as humans balancing a lot of balls, right? We're always juggling the balls, always pushing here, pushing there, keeping stuff up in the air. But there is a point where what happens, right? We burn out. And when we burn out, it sucks. Like it really sucks because you're banking and you're hoping, you're really freaking hoping that you've put enough into whatever it is where you find yourself, either in a career and adventure, time service, right? In a relationship, hopefully you've put enough in, you've built enough, there's enough that's come back, there's enough balance that when you reach this plateau where you're like, man, just like fucking 2 minutes, man, like just I need a day. I'm not blowing anything up, not pissing anybody off. I'm not shirking any kind of responsibility. And that's a big thing, right? So taking that time to recenter yourself to make sure you're being available to yourself. Sometimes, listen, some people need a hot bubble bath, some candles, and a glass of red wine. They need it. Maybe I need it. I don't know. Sometimes I just need a really good cup of coffee, silence, some music. Other times I need to go out and scream and yell at a game. Other times I need to go hit a golf ball. Other times I just need to hang out with the kids. Other times I just need a really decent conversation with someone. Sometimes I need to be acknowledged for everything that I'm doing, sort of like a personal affirmation, like, yeah, guess what? You're on the right track. You're doing well. But it has to come and it has to start with you. We rely on a lot of these outside stimuli because we're depositing, 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 depositing. Now we want some return. Now we want some return. Caveat: we can't control anybody else. You can't control how they're going to react. You can't control their expectation. I mean, how many times have you bought a gift for someone, right? Specifically, a younger person, and you know all of the trials and troubles and tribulations. I budgeted this, I moved this there, I had to order this online, then I had to go pick it up 20 minutes away. This wasn't available, blah, blah, blah. And you've put like 20 hours and a couple $100 into a gift, and it's going to be the greatest thing in the world. And then you present the gift. And in your world, in your expectation, it falls flat, right? So internally, like, fuck, man, I went through all this and all that, busted my ass. I did XYZ on the presentation. Nobody gave me credit or help for that. I was up till 3 in the morning to make sure stuff got done. These guys were out, doing happy hour with the other people in the company. I'm over here busting my balls, and it's really well put together. Everything is planned great. It's presented, and it comes back as, "Oh, that's really good. Yes, exactly. Met our expectations. Everything's fine. Thank you so much." If you don't have an availability to yourself to affirm and confirm within yourself that you are doing the right thing for yourself, and then boom, break that open into all these levels, right? Doing the best for yourself in your convictions, doing the best for yourself in your relationship, doing the best for yourself in your career, doing the best for yourself in your socialization, and then obviously your metaphysical being, spirituality, however you guys, ladies, they, him, she, these ways, rainbows, want to define it. Um, we always talk about checking in with ourselves. We always check about what other people are doing, how it's affecting me, how we're reacting. Really, though, being available to yourself and really being available to understand and recognize these feelings within you, how you interpret things, being honest with the type of satisfaction or disappointment certain things bring to you, open to it, understanding it, will set you ahead. Not that you shouldn't set expectations, not that you shouldn't set um, goals. You should have all these things. You should have expectations. You should have goals. You should always move forward, and not sit idle. Even the smallest bit of progress, even the smallest bit of movement, even though sometimes it's negative, paradox again, is better than sitting and doing nothing. There was a great, again, take this for what it's worth. There was a great Jordan Peterson commentary, and he said, you can be in a situation and you can be miserable, and you can be miserable and you can exist and you can survive. And then you can step out of that situation. And yes, it's going to be difficult. Yes, there's going to be hurdles. Yes, there's going to be things that you need to overcome and reprioritize. But 10 years down the line, you'll be in a much different situation. Whether it's good or bad is going to be predicated on what you do. And this is me expanding on this quote now. What you do with that time is going to be predicated on your own effort, your own desires. And obviously, there's all these little things that always attach. We never get rid of all that stuff. Yeah, exactly, maybe. Or you can stay in the same situation, and instead of being 5 years miserable, you can be 10 years miserable. You can be 15 years miserable. What we're not seeing, just as Wamby pointed out in the chat, is that a person might not even realize that they're being miserable or that they are miserable. And it begins to arc down, starts changing, starts coming out. So you wonder why someone is 50 years old, pulled up into their house, and they're just like the most miserable SOB in the world. They haven't challenged themselves. They haven't gotten out of their arena. And it's not a necessity for people to get out of your area, out of your arena, out of your environment. People can be very content. People can be very happy. People can be very industrious in their particular environment, where they're at, where they come from, surrounded by the people that they're surrounded by. If, in my opinion, you have a full understanding of where you're at, who you are, and being assured and affirmed in your decision. I've known many people who have lived in row homes in Philadelphia for their entire life. For them, it's amazing and it works well because you know why? They get up, they go to school, they go to work, they come home, they get married, they have kids. It's a consistent neighborhood, it's a consistent budget. And in their free time, they know that if they stay in this little niche, instead of taking on more responsibility other places, nothing wrong with that if you have aspirations. And these people have aspirations, but it works for them because they want to go to Disney 4 times a year. So where someone else might spend $40,000 on a better home or a more desirable home, that's subjective, and be able to pay the extra $15,000 in yearly taxes, go for it. That's your thing. Float your boat. Awesome. These individuals here are completely content and happy. The problem comes in when you exist in a particular environment, when you exist within a particular business relationship or personal relationship, and there's an unwillingness on either the 2 or 3 main entities, however it is, business, life, blah, 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 to adapt and change and really be available to the other person so that person can grow or change, or the business can grow or change. You perpetuate this cycle of stagnant movement. It's moving forward. You're going to survive. Things are going to be okay. But your joy, your passion, your love, your desire, it's not going to be commensurate to, right? It's not going to equal itself out because you're always looking for something that's a little better. But this person's totally content with being here. That's cool, and this is cool. But if there's no understanding, you're going to find yourself in a bad spot. Again, being available to yourself and knowing that you are not going to get the response that you need and or want from this particular entity or thing, then the onus goes back to you, right? If I'm really being available to my stuff, if I'm really being available to my feelings, if I'm really being available to what makes me tick, and what makes me move forward, yes, I have all of these things going on. You got a wife or you got an ex-wife, you have kids, you don't have kids, you have financial difficulties, you have uh, financial success, you have residence location, you have job opportunities. You have to really be in tune and open to yourself and say, all right, if I'm being really available to myself, I know that I can compromise this amount of time. I know I can compromise not interacting or seeing someone or something this amount of time. After that, it's going to be an issue. I can compromise traveling for a week if on the backside in return, there's something that is going to sustain me or recharge me when I come back. Again, you can't put that faith in other people 100% of the time because you may be away and you may come back and that person could have a shitty day. Kids could be sick, right? Business deal could have fell through. You could have been asked to take on another responsibility. Know thyself, man. Be be available and ready to address those feelings. Have the tools to do it. Right? What kind of tools do you need? Some people need 10 minutes to themselves. Some people need quiet, directed, thought-provoking meditation. Some people need to take a fucking nap. That's it. Some people need to go for a run. People need a good meal. Some people need to see that, hey, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I look like I'm kind of put together. This is nice. Humility and hubris through it all. Come on. I mean, that's a given. But not being able to recognize pros, the cons, flaws in our own self, what makes us tick, what doesn't make us tick, you're not being available to yourself. You're really not being available to yourself because if you really sit there and you listen to yourself, 99% of the time, you really know where you should be, who you should be surrounded with, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And that takes no sort of training. It takes no sort of internal moral compass. It takes no sort of degree or certification. We have an innate instinct as humans to know where things are right and where things appear to be right. However, we're forcing it. Exactly, your intuition. And one of the it's one of the great skills and one of the great powers I think that we all possess, but because there's so much noise that we face on a daily basis, we a lot of times suppress those feelings. We suppress those, intuitive moments. Where it's like, hey, you know what? I really would like to go out after this. However, something's telling me that, you know, 2:30 in the morning, Friday night, kind of shitty weather, guess what? Just I'm gonna shut it down. Or you're in a relationship or a business relationship with someone, and you see that there's not an equal effort being made. And the equal effort being made is subjective to the person who's involved because obviously we expect more from really close interpersonal relationships than we do from our friends down the street. Like I would never put the same sort of onus on the guys I'm in with a fantasy football league to text me and check in with me as opposed to my partner or my best friend. Regardless, we both know, we all know how we need to be available for the other person and vice versa. None of it goes anywhere unless we're being open and honest and true and real with ourselves. It doesn't work. JD made a great point. It's like you're having a false relationship. You hate false relationships. Well, guess what? Newsflash: you can have a false relationship with yourself. There are plenty of people that mask what is really going on and what's really happening, I'm sure at some point in my life, self included, where you just don't want to face how you are. You don't want to face the fact that you've kind of let yourself slip a little bit. And you don't have to change it overnight. You don't got to run right out and buy a self help book. You don't got to immediately, like, wipe the slate clean with certain things. You don't. But should you be conscious of yourself and paying attention to yourself and listening to how you are reacting and responding to things? Yeah, you should. You 100% should, because that shit will bleed over into, let's see, that stuff will bleed over into other aspects of your existence. You have these. Yo, yo, yo. Oh, I see Trevor over in the chat. Trevor wants to jump in and say something. He's been ducking me, and I've been ducking him all week with appointments and other people. I haven't been available to Trevor, and I feel bad. So let me bring him on so I can hear his commentary about what's happening. Yo, is well. Yo, what's up, B Dub? What's happening? Nice, everybody. Everybody's jumping in today. Perfect day. Yeah, it is a perfect day to kind of talk. Tell you not to chill a little bit. Middle of the week, Ash Wednesday. We have this opportunity to really get on board with the same people and make this connection, and it's really good. And you got to do it yourself, man. If you don't know what's going on in yourself and you're not really available to how you're feeling, you're just doing yourself a disservice. I mean, sometimes it's like it sucks. Like, it really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck, I really want to be with this person. I really want to work for that company, but you know what? I can't. Like, I can't. And sometimes you can't because it's your own doing. Other times you can't because it's their doing, and you're like, fuck, I can't.
Sounds like
what
my
the
dating
hell?
life.
It sounds like a lot of people's dating lives. So, welcome to the program. How are you feeling there?
I am back. I'm kind of back now. I figure you
You
say
back
that.
now?
I have a new front tooth. Here
Okay.
we
Let's see how
go.
pretty this is. Nice. Very nice.
So that's a
So,
good
do you want
news.
to share what
We might
happened real
as
quick,
well.
or
I
no?
was doing
You
the
might as
ab
well.
roller. I was doing the ab roller Monday morning before I was about to go work out. Slipped and fell. Slipped
Oh
on
God.
one set. Face plant on the ceiling on my floor.
Mm.
Not the carpet. The floor. The hardwood floor.
Lord. Oh damn.
Bad mistake by my end already. So I usually do it on the soft side and
Right.
wrong. Did that. Heard a crack. I was like, oh fuck. I literally have
Oh.
to find a dentist. So
Mm.
found a
That, that
dentist.
that to me is.
It was the most pain I've ever been in.
Yeah. I'm not. Listen, all the women out there watching, listening. I get the whole, the pregnancy thing, but it's like, look, your bodies are designed for that. Your threshold is way
Mm-hmm.
higher, so it's like it's comparing
Mm-hmm.
apples and oranges, dude. Facial injuries are because
Oral
you
surgery.
can't do anything about it. You can do nothing
Mm-hmm.
about it, right? The
It was
kids bite your
horrible.
tongue, tooth pops out. What are you gonna do? You put a Band-Aid on your mouth? No.
I do that. So I had to work that day anyway. So I literally called my
Oh,
boss. I was like, well, I'm so sorry. It's like, what happened? I was like, I have to get oral surgery. It's like, what? I was like, I cracked my tooth. That's why, my front tooth. And went to this dentist in Parkland, Florida. The best. Literally, I told me I need, like, they looked, it's like, this is the worst crack I've ever seen. We have to fix this
oh.
now.
So did he extract the
So
whole tooth and put a new one in?
she
Yeah.
had to do a root canal,
Oh.
a bridge,
Oh yeah.
and a crown.
Oh my God. Yeah, at
Yeah,
that
so
point, I just feel like, take it out, just give me something new. Like, I seriously, it
they
just
were
sounds
like,
smart.
so they literally said, like, they were two choices, like, do the whole in the implant too, which I currently have in, which is still weird to me,
Yep.
or do I go with the flapper? I look like a hockey player. Like, we're not doing no flapper here.
No flapper.
Looking
Sorry
like
about
Sean
that.
not trying to look like Sean Couturier here.
Not yet. He's like, after I
No,
met the gym for about 6 months, we'll do it.
no, I was like, listen, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'll be sick and tired of it after 6 months. It's like, let's do a whole new implant and stuff.
Oh.
$3,000 later, and boom.
Yeah,
in a
seriously.
chair from
Mhm.
10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the chair for, with a little
No
break
way,
in between.
man. Oh, no. See, that's
Most uncomfortable pain I've ever been. I just want to die.
yeah. I mean, good for you, the fact that someone was there and you were able to find someone and get it done.
Yeah, the
'Cause
first place I went to, the first place I called it because, like, oh, we can't get until Thursday. I was like, I need this as an emergency. That's why.
Yeah, you're like, "Wait a minute, buddy, like, yeah, I'm not here for a checkup. My tooth's hanging
No,
out of
I
my
told
mouth."
my tooth is cracked right now. I need this fixed ASAP. That's why.
Oh, yeah, no, that's,
Like this needs to get done. So
hey,
this is the worst.
you
So
got it done.
it's
It's
also
all
weird
taken
too because I
care of.
feel like weird. It's all done. I just feel weird now because I like my whole. I was trying not to go any of the fake routes, anything in my life. Anyways, now I have to deal
Sure.
with an implant.
Yeah, and it's there, and it's
So
kinda like,
it's
all
just
right."
it's not real. I'm still scared to eat with some shit. So it's
Yeah, I
like
was gonna
fuck.
say, yeah, they give you any restrictions, like, don't be eating like a tomahawk steak or an apple, shit like that.
I don't know. It's like I'm doing soft food right now, but they
Mhm.
told me I can't bite my front tooth anyways anymore. So I'm like doing everything on the side now.
Yeah, corn nuts.
So it
Brian B-Dub
sucks.
says
So
corn nuts. It does suck, man. It actually does suck. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, that's
the morale kills me because I didn't want to have anything fake in my mouth anyways.
well, fake and, you know,
Not trying to look like
healthy with it
Hollywood
is
already, but
yeah, exactly. Oh, man, I've seen, like, and listen, shout out to people who do the veneers. It's awesome if you can do
oh
it,
yeah,
but, you know,
yeah,
I don't know if
that's a
I don't know
no
if I'm
go.
right. That's a no-go.
I thought they was like, oh, your whole fucking mouth's fucked. We have to do veneers. I was about to cry. So I
Yeah,
did not want to do that.
and they do the ones
That's
now
the
where
one thing that.
they drill, like, 4 or 5 little, like, anchors, and then they screw them in. Oh, dude.
Mhm. No, no, thanks.
It's
No.
like, in order
No,
to
no,
get
no.
there, what has to happen first? "Oh, the old one's gotta come out first." No, 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 no. No, sorry. Sorry.
I
I
was trying to I'm
I'll
like,
keep using, like, the peroxide stuff and clean them with the whitening stuff. We'll be
yeah,
alright.
I'm still like, I'm scared. I hate going to the dentist with all things. Like checkups, I don't mind. Dentist, I hate because I feel like it's gonna be end of the world and I'm gonna be miserable anyways.
Yeah, and they always put you on blast, and we understand. Like, look,
Yeah.
this is like the dentist. This is your wheelhouse, right? And it's a personal hygiene thing. People have time, but does everybody like? I'm sure there's people out. Do you floss 2 times a day? No. Do you brush 2 times a day? Sometimes, morning and night. Yeah, but like it's not fanatical like you. It's like when you go to the car
Mhm.
dealership and they're for your check. And I just need my oil changed. They're like, yeah,
Mhm.
well, you need pads and rotors, and looks like you need an alignment, driving well, but you probably change your
You need to do
belts, flush your
tires.
tranny.
You gotta do the
Oh,
timing belt, which I'm avoiding that right now. I don't
oh
want to
my
pay
gosh.
$1,300 right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. So,
I know.
floor is yours. Floor is yours.
Yeah, it
Please
just
tell us.
sucks. It
What
just
what else
sucks
do
right now. I'm just
what
bored.
what I think I just said same age as I know, B-dub, right? They pulled that trick on me the last time I went to the dentist too. And I was like,
Mm.
yeah. And then they started talking and they're like, "Oh, wouldn't it be good if you just had like an extra bit of cleaner back here and we can offer you this service and let's set you up." And like, yeah, okay, all right, sure, whatever you
But
want.
I'll
Yep,
say
yep.
this. I'll say
Mhm.
this. These dentists down here have every high tech thing I've ever seen before.
Oh
Puts
yeah,
everything up to north of shape. Oh yeah, like crazy
nice.
technology and stuff. Like I was able to get my implant there and
Oh,
not wait
nice.
2 weeks. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
literally everything was in house. I was like, holy shit. They said, I
yeah.
was like, I asked, like, do you have the implant in here? I was like, yeah, we can make it right now. I was like, holy fuck, we just do a lot. So I was like,
I
fine.
have to I have to give a shout out here, and I need to get this
Yo.
the right name for this because it was really, really fortunate. I've been waiting to drop this at the right time. And since you gave your shout out to your dentist down there, prior to going out to Arizona, I was
Yeah.
really up against it with glasses. Like my prescription hadn't been
Hmm.
done in I think like 3 years, 2.5, 3 years.
Hmm.
Which again, it's one of those things. Like you sit down with the optometrist and like, when was your last appointment? You're like, maybe like a year ago. Yeah, a year ago. And they're like, no, I don't think so. So shout out to Harbison Eye Care over on
Okay.
5500 block of Tulip Street in Philadelphia. Uh, Day before I had to leave, it was Thursday. I went in on Thursday.
Hmm.
By Friday morning, they had made the lenses and the glasses in house for me
Oh shit.
in order to take, and that was like huge. I mean, I paid a couple bucks for it, but still, you know, same day service on some of these things, very, very
Hmm.
important. Very
Yeah.
important. People will pay for that premium if they need to, and I needed to. And they were amazing. The whole crew there was great. Optometrist, she was awesome.
That's
The
awesome.
salespeople, they were really good. Hooked me up with a decent pair of glasses. But yeah, shout out to Harbison Eye Care. If you want to be a
There
sponsor,
we go.
don't buy Cloud there. So
That's awesome, though. I
yeah, it
always
was
feel
wicked.
like modern medicine and dentistry is, like, up there now, which is crazy. I feel like some people are adapting it and some people aren't, which is crazy now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and that's
Like, I
that's
feel
my
like
thing. Go ahead.
I feel like up north, it's just like, not yet." South, are like, "Oh, let's fucking do it," you know? "Let's try this shit," you know?
Well, okay,
It's a cultural thing anyways, I feel.
yeah, yeah. Case and like I always get this wrong. I always just say point and case and point, and people back and forth with it, whatever. Uh,
Mhm,
my family members here, they're like they'll put off, and I'm like, listen, I understand that there's a component of like self-reliance, again, that availability. There's a
yeah,
component of like your faith or just doing what has been done over time. But like if you can
mhm,
take advantage of like
do
the
it.
modern side of it, just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, just do it. I mean, this isn't like we're not doing hip replacements like they did in the '80s. No, where they. I mean,
No.
like this is night and day, man. Come on, man, get out of here.
Put a metal thing in, you're good to go.
Yeah, put a
Go
middle
go look
finger,
at
my
Bo
titanium
Jackson.
ball.
Go
Get out there, hit the links.
go look at Bo Jackson hitting home runs with a replace hip anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it, man.
So,
Oh
are
man,
you excited for baseball season to start? Because I feel like this is the biggest lull of all week. There's, like, nothing on.
I was looking actually ahead at some of the baseball matchups. I was looking at the rosters. I saw,
Mhm,
obviously the Nola re-signing, signing with extension, whatever it is here. Uh, that's resonating. He's coming. He's saying all the right things. Um, I'm anxious to sort of get this thing going. Like let's get it going now. I didn't really have
yeah.
that much fun with outside of the McClung kid with the dunk contest, which is cool. I didn't care
He
about
looked like a guy from Always
184
Sunny,
points.
he
Yeah.
he looked like from Always Sunny,
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
like
I mean,
now I'm like, I'm looking at like, this is the worst week ever. Like, now I see why in sports industries and radio, like, people take vacation during this week.
oh, it dies. It just totally dies, man.
Yeah.
And if it
Like,
wasn't
what do
for
you talk about?
yeah, what do you talk about? And thank goodness, like if there wasn't anything else, is oh my god. um, yeah, there are, man. But there is a lull in that sense. And there was a couple guys who were uh, it, they let me take my collective thought on this here. A lot of NFL teams voided contracts, right?
Mhm,
Bradbury was one of the big ones that got voided from the Eagles. But when you look at it from the business side of it, it's voided under the pretense of these guys are going to be free agents. So instead
mhm.
of retaining them under what we have right now, let's go to arbitration. Let's have a sit down, really work something out. So it's like people are like, "Oh my god, they got rid of him." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. Like this is business.
No.
There's a big business side of this. You look ahead at okay, the draft's coming. Draft is pretty deep in a lot of areas this year. Do you want to replace it
Oh,
with
yeah.
someone on a rookie contract? How many guys do you want to bring back? But yeah, but this little part right here where Super Bowl hangover, baseball hasn't started,
NBA
and
All-Star break.
NBA All Star break, which is just, I mean, come on.
It seems I have a question for you.
All
Is
right.
it bad that I'm not watching much of hockey this year because ESPN has sanitized the sport, and I'm,
No,
like,
and to
watching
be
more NBA, like
yeah, no, no, because I can only recall about maybe 7 periods of a game that I've watched this entire season
Mhm.
collectively, collectively. And I know you're the huge hockey guy, but I would
Yeah.
sit down and I would watch a game every now and then. But
I
right
can't do
now,
it now.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Finding it, streaming it, getting on the same page with it. Nah, it's and then the game itself, like I enjoy hockey, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It's
I
kind of done this for me. It's here.
It's just it's the
It's
worst.
settled.
I will s it's the worst thing that ESPN is they just sanitize the sport. They just lose the personality of it.
Mhm. And the funny thing
It's
is, like,
just
they
so I
hated the NHL. Like, when the NHL was really good and they could have, like,
Mhm.
really, really capitalized on some of the stuff, that would be, like, the last thing ESPN would talk about.
Mhm. It's just bad.
Yeah, it's just bad. It
And
is just bad, man.
and you look at some contract, "Oh, we were like, oh, ESPN wants hockey. This is a" yeah, but now when we look at it, it's like, "Holy fuck, they fucked up."
Mhm. They have more play
Because
out
it's
of
also
their I'm waiting for their, They're college basketball. Like, I'm looking forward now. I'm like, all right, it's the 22nd of February. Conference tournament should be
Conference tourneys coming
starting soon.
soon.
Right? Like, please come conference tournaments. Please help me out. Everybody's
Mhm, mhm.
racing to look back into their mid-major index to find out, where's my team at? How are they doing?
Yeah,
Who's going to be the guy in the team that's running through here? Like this year, um, the standings they just got
Miami's
it.
killing it right now.
Miami's
Miami's
killing it.
killing it right, which I'm telling people, like, watch out for the Canes. They are
Mhm.
truly a basketball school,
Now,
which some people are hate to say it because it's usually a football school.
look at this fallout from where they were. Loyola this year, not making the tournament whatsoever.
That's a sad.
Conference
That's really
conference
sad.
3-11 because they're playing in the A10, right?
Oh,
Overall win loss 9-17. When you
oh,
start playing, Dayton, VCU, Fordham, St. Joe's,
Fordham's in the
UMass,
A10.
yeah, like on a
Did not
regular,
know that.
you you're woken up real quick. It's a big change from like the Horizon League or the Missouri Missouri Valley,
Missouri
MEAC,
Valley Southern.
yeah,
This
Missouri
the
Valley
me.
Southern Conference. But yeah,
It
then again,
just suck. I'm gonna say this: like a lot of these conference expansions, it's gonna suck for
oh
like
yeah,
especially it's gonna be great for football. It's gonna be horrible for basketball and everything else. Think
yes,
about it. It's gonna be so bad. Like
hmm
UCLA playing like anyone cool, but it's not gonna be the same as like UCLA, Arizona State, UCLA, Arizona, and the rival and for college basketball, like UCLA, Ohio State. That's not a rivalry at all. That's usually like a Final Four matchup.
yep, yeah, pretty much,
It
and
just
it's yep,
sucks. It's
gonna suck. It will
it,
suck because
it's
they keep creating and trying to create, and rightfully so. I understand why people want to follow the money and have these humongous conferences, but
oh yeah.
it's slowly gearing itself to where there's going to be tier one and then everybody else. Because I'd
Uh-huh.
rather go and I'd rather sit on the bench at Duke or Carolina or even someplace in the ACC where I know I'm going to make money on a contract and be on
Mhm.
TV than
I just
stand out there
I
in the
always
middle of
say
like
the AC
Montana.
yeah, I just feel like the ACC is gonna get lost in the shuffle of all these
Mhm.
conference realignments. It's gonna be bad. So, yeah, it just sucks. It's like
When
sports
you,
now is just like, I don't wanna watch half the shit now. It's like,
I
where can
know.
I find it, you know?
Well, I mean, like to your point, right? So I'm a big Syracuse guy. I love Syracuse. I
Yeah.
enjoy betting on 'em. I think this is sort of like
Well,
close to his final run, but they're middle of the pack right now, right? So look at the updated
they haven't been the
standing.
same since they've left the Big East.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was going with. So 16-11 overall, 9-7 in the conference. But you've got UVA, you've got Miami, you've got Pitt, you got Clemson, Carolina, NC State, Wake.
Duke.
I mean, like this is a different breed, and we have so many good teams. And of course, they get into these little conference tournaments. They can make a little run, make a little name for
Yeah.
themselves. Maybe get on that little bubble. But there was there was like a romance of having like the Big East and it being schools geographic to that location. It made all the tournaments in the Garden so much better.
Yeah.
Georgetown coming
Now
up
it's
the
not the
tournament,
same.
like, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. And it's like, "Oh, you guys can talk about old stuff. You don't wanna be progressive. You don't wanna move ahead." And it's like, "Yeah, but we're moving ahead at what cost, though? Like, at what cost are we moving
Yeah.
ahead?"
Like,
You know?
I'm saying UConn being independents, fuck them for football.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah,
Absolutely.
it's the worst thing, like, they're losing money, like, they should like, if
Mhm.
they didn't sue BC back in, like, '05 when BC left for the ACC, they would be in the ACC by now.
Mhm.
Think about it. They would be the best that would literally, like UConn would be like the Vanderbilt or maybe
Mhm.
worse, like, of that for football, but basketball, they'll show up and, like, look when you look at it, like, UConn, UNC, UConn, Duke, like, you have matchups for, like, almost everywhere and that you went to the old Big East
Mhm.
is pretty much in the ACC now, and a lot of
Yeah.
them, like, people who were like me and other people have moved down to the ACC country, so it's like when if UConn got into the ACC, it'd be so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It'll
And I
be more
think
like it'll feel like the old Big East almost.
yeah, it would. And the reason that I think it's important and why I don't enjoy lumping everybody into these humongous power conferences is that you like your level of competition, sure, it increases,
Mhm.
or your skill sets, your development, the recruiting, all of that, grows as well. But when you want to have some sort of, uh, I don't wanna say parity, it's not the right word, but where you wanna have some bit of equality across the board with some of these other
Competition.
schools, competition, you know, it just gets washed out. So now all my
Mhm.
competition is taking place in the SEC throughout the college football year. If it's not Georgia, if
Mhm.
it's not Alabama, and it's not LSU, a couple other teams in the mix, who is it gonna be? So you get then to these championship games, and you see,
Mhm.
Michigan survives, they're doing okay out there in the Big Ten, they get by. TCU does their thing, but then you get to, the championship game, and
Mhm.
they are like TCU is just exposed,
Oh, yeah.
like, just exposed by Georgia. Why are they exposed? Well, because all of the talent who may be the starting quarterback at TCU or even starting quarterback at
Mhm.
Michigan, they're gonna go where the money's at. They're gonna go
Oh, yeah.
where I can get the better the NIL deal. I can go ahead and
And
be.
I
Yeah,
NIL, just marketing everything.
sure.
It just sucks. It's like some
I
teams are getting left in the dust.
Right. And it will create an environment where you have these conferences and everyone else. And that's fine and well. I mean, I'll take a scholarship to like South Utah State and go get a free education. Like if I was a kid, I'd be like, okay,
Mhm.
cool. But if there's any aspirations for you to go anywhere, then what happens? You have a stockpile of quarterbacks sitting on one team, right? Look at the Georgia quarterbacks. Look at the Oklahoma quarterbacks. Look at the quarterbacks sitting at Ohio
Mhm.
State, right? You sit there. It's like playing like a fantasy league on
In
Madden.
football almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
It's like
It's like,
fantasy football for college now, which is crazy.
you know,
Will it
so
be good? Eh, sucks.
it's gonna bring down the competition, and you worry about the same thing too going on with baseball. Like I look at the baseball season, like I'm super happy that Trey Turner's in Philadelphia. That's amazing because newsflash for Philly fans, like it's gonna be a little bit before Bryce Harper gets back. So be prepared.
Oh, yeah.
2-3 months.
It's
They got
not gonna
3 months.
be
Yeah, he's not gonna come back.
he
Setting the
pro
world on fire.
he's not going back till July. Let's be
Right.
honest here, before
Yeah,
the
I
All-Star
would sit
break.
there and say, right, if he comes back before the All Star break, and
That's what
again,
I'm thinking.
yeah, just come on, like make it healthy, make it happy, make it happen. Um, Come back when you're fully ready for it, and then in the same breath, right? Someone like Manny Machado, who got this humongous contract, is like, oh, I'm going to opt out after this year. I want $400 million. Some,
He's a dope. He's a
yeah, yeah,
fucking dope.
yeah. I'm
He's a
yeah,
dope.
like you're really like you're good and you're a lot of talent, but you're gonna give up your $300+ million contract because you want a couple extra.
You want 50 extra million more.
Yeah, and you're moving away from probably your best chance to actually win a championship. I mean, if Tatis keeps his head out of his ass and he looks at what he's putting into his body, and I blame that on their people. I blame that on people because
Can I
I
blame it on
really
him too also? Because
yeah, I
he's an
mean,
idiot for going on a motorcycle during the lockout.
dude,
I think it's
there.
it's both.
You're right. I think it is
It's
both.
one
Yeah, it could be both. It could definitely be both. I mean, I
yeah,
just
because when you look at it,
yeah,
Tatis is we framed
yeah.
him as the best player ever, and he looks like a fucking dope. Like I'm gonna go ride a motorcycle. Oh, I'm gonna get injured. I'm not gonna tell anybody, and I'm not gonna get surgery right away
Mhm.
because I'm not gonna do it on my dime. I'm gonna do it on the Padres' dime. That's what Scottie Pippen
Exactly.
would say.
Yeah, exactly. And then he gets popped for his, whatever it is
PEDs.
that he's taken that
Was
he's
and that
not
was the funny
taken.
thing. He got popped in when he was in Miami. That's the even funnier part.
Yep. I mean, these guys,
Hilarious.
I don't know. If I was an owner, if I was someone writing the contracts, and I know this
Hmm.
sounds so I mean, there's no other way for this to sound other than it's almost like I bite my tongue saying it, but you're like you have a piece of property, but like if
Hmm.
I'm investing $350 million into Trevor, there's a certain amount of control that I would expect to get under the parameters of this contract. Like I would sit there and say, dude, you got to lay off any kind of dangerous, risky, whatever behavior in the off season.
Mhm.
If you want to do that, then this percentage is going to come off. Go ahead, yeah, yeah. This
See
is
ya.
going to be on your dime. Go ahead, go ahead.
See ya, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like, get out of here.
yeah. See him. Get out, man. Because
And next he's gonna run with the Bulls of Jason Babin almost.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, come on, Jason Bad. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go hit the Bulls over there in Seville. Run around acting like
Barcelona,
jackasses.
baby.
Barcelona. It's like there's a lot of money
Mhm.
invested. There's a lot of money that's being demanded by players. Granted, if I'm willing to pay out $100 million or $50 million for 5 seasons, over 10 seasons, or whatever it is, on the backside, that means that I'm making hand over fist. That's just
Mhm.
business, right? But there is a component of where do you draw the line, one, with the spending, two, how much control or how less control do you really have over, your players in that this season? Listen, I'm all for the players' rights. You want to get a lot of money, fucking get a lot of money. However, if you're in a business, in a contract, in a relationship, and they're signed to this, then
Mhm.
stay within those parameters. Seriously, stay within those parameters. Like if I went and I was, you know, uh, working as like I don't know, a glazer or something like that, and
Yeah.
I get hurt, or I like, oh well, sorry, dude. You got your insurance, you got your time off, take it, enjoy yourself. If they come back
Mhm.
and say, hey, you came back, you're not really performing the job, bye, see you later. I mean, like, there's a certain expectation that comes along with anything that we involve ourselves with. And I just feel like the higher up the food chain you go, the
Mhm.
fallout is greater, the expectation should be greater. So, anyway. All right, man. Hey, look, I want to wrap this up today because I need to go and make a couple phone calls real quick.
I heard a doorbell, so I guess that means my time
Doorbell,
to go.
doorbell's coming in too. I think there's a visit from one of the other nurses and
Alright,
stuff from
man.
my cousins and all. So, all right, Travel. See you in a bit. Thanks for jumping on. Hope the tooth
I'll text
is
you.
all here. Thank you. Everyone else, thank you today for the little bit of commentary, conversation, pouring perspective. Myself, the Dunkin Dad, will be back Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12:15. This evening, myself, AJ Johnson, Luch, Nick Martinez, a couple other guests on the Bleach Brothers Sports Network midweek show. Please join us, 8 p.m., nofilter.net. Friday after Tony Bruno show into the nightcap, myself, Play Action, Real Penguin AZ, slew of guests, all hooking up, all running it. Be available to yourself. Know what you need. Right now, you know what I need? I need to go take care of some things so it settles with my soul and I like it and I stay focused. All right, everybody, have a good one. Peace, peace, peace.